Breaking tonight, the Trump White House is standing by their man, embattled Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. A growing list of lawmakers want Lutnick to resign over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The New York Times reports Lutnick appears in the Epstein files more than 250 times. The documents outline their business dealings as well as their relationship as neighbors. We should note, being mentioned in the files does not imply criminal wrongdoing. Today, the Republican chair of the House Oversight Committee dodged questions about bringing Lutnick in for questioning.
Does the committee have any plans to subpoena Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, given the revelations about his relationship?
We're going to try to get these 5 nailed down. We've got a lot of very important people we're trying to bring in to answer questions. We don't want to do anything to jeopardize the 5 that we have on the books.
Okay, don't know what that means. Joining us now is Democratic Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury of New Mexico. She serves on the House Oversight Committee and was in today's deposition of Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. Maybe the Congresswoman can illuminate some things for us.
Yeah, Congresswoman, I want to know both what you thought of Ghislaine Maxwell's deposition and if the Commerce Secretary were to be brought in to agree to a deposition, what you'd like to ask of him.
Well, first of all, let me just say that if Congress subpoenas the Secretary of Commerce, he must come in. So we want to be really clear about Congress's investigatory and subpoena powers. And I believe not only does he need to come in and answer to the American people, I do believe he needs to step down, as was noted a little while ago. You know, in 9 countries at least across Europe, officials have been asked to either step down or criminal investigations have been opened into the behavior of officials and potential trafficking and money laundering schemes. And here in the United States, my colleagues across the aisle have failed to even call for the most basic accountability of individuals like Howard Lutnick and like the president, who is named 38,000 times. With regards to, you know, the deposition today, I want to be clear. Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney issued a statement after the deposition, which he stated publicly, he read in the deposition, in which he basically says that if she is going to speak honestly and provide the unfiltered truth, she has to be provided full clemency by the President of the United States. And so she is saying through her attorney that she wants a quid pro quo from the president in order to speak, and that she is willing to sell her silence now in order to get a full pardon.
You know, the interesting thing in what Comer said to me was, you know, the pivot immediately to, well, we want to nail down, you know, what we're doing here right now, the interviews that we've got set up. He wants to nail down the Clintons, but anyone seem to nail down Mr. Lutnick. Doesn't want to seem to nail down the President of the United States, who was mentioned 38,000 times in the pages that we know, that we've seen, that we've heard of. So talk a little bit about what that says ultimately between now and next January in reality, because this Congress is not going to do anything. They're slow rolling the process, Congresswoman. They set up 4 computers for you to go in and take a look at $3 million, 3 million documents. I wish it were $3 million, right? For the payment, for the pain. But the reality is 3 million documents, 4 computers. So they're not accommodating the Congress. So what can we reasonably expect to happen over the next few weeks and months as we go through the charade of setting up a clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell, because that's the ultimate end game here. And even when that comes, she's not going to tell us anything. What happens first here? Do we actually get to know who these people are, or does she get to walk away with the presidential pardon or clemency?
Well, just to kind of pull a few of these pieces apart, first of all, it's important to know that the Department of Justice doesn't have to accommodate us. They need to follow the law, and they have not followed the law. They have only released about half of the required materials, and of the files that they are allowing members of Congress to view on DOJ computers, these are only the files that they have released so far. And I couldn't even get into the room today because there weren't enough computers for all of the members that have requested access. So I will go tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. But I was also told by Ranking Member Raskin and others who were in the room that it's extremely cumbersome to access the database, to actually unredact the files. And so you have to go in there knowing what you're looking for. So I can tell you that I have a whole list of documents, including documents that include the name of potential co-conspirators and perpetrators, that I will be looking to see unredacted. Some of the more disgusting emails that have been circulating the last couple of weeks regarding child sex trafficking. I'm interested to know what happened at Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, and to really understand some of the ways in which the larger network of sex trafficking, money laundering, and influence peddling was interacting, including Donald Trump and his allies and associates, and how they are implicated in these files. But to your point, are we going to get the whole truth? Obviously, not only are they slow rolling us, they are violating the law. The president has threatened members of Congress. They have tried to stop the disclosure of these files. So, you know, we are going to continue to use every legal tool we have. There are discussions happening here on a bipartisan basis about amending the Epstein files Transparency Act to force DOJ's compliance, and we're just going to continue digging. And I also think it's important, you know, Comer says that we can't subpoena more individuals because we're busy or he wants to get through these other ones first. That's just a lie. We can subpoena whoever we want at whatever time we want, and there are many individuals that have information, and we will continue to seek out that information and make it public.
Congresswoman, you said you're going in with a list of things you want to know, particularly some names. If you learn the names, are you going to release them? And I ask
Yes.
because you are going to release them.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, the Epstein File Transparency Act was very clear on this issue. The White House and DOJ were not to redact any file for the purpose of protecting the name or reputation of an individual who might be implicated in participating in or knowledge of a crime. The only redactions that were allowed were to protect victims, which they did not do. They intentionally appear to have unmasked victims. And of course, if there was child sex trafficking materials, to protect the identities of not just victims, but others in association who are children, et cetera. So absolutely, all of these files should be made public. That is what the law says. And if we find names of individuals, which we highly expect, including a DOJ document that directly names Donald Trump and a number of other individuals that were being investigated by DOJ for crimes associated with Epstein, I will absolutely share that publicly.
We have not yet seen that document. We can't corroborate that, but if you see those, we need to have you back so we can understand what is going on there and ask more questions.